How important is our energy?
Opening with a question. That's so good.
It affects our emotions, affects our mood, it affects our decision, our drive, motivation.
Taking notes for us.
Right. Which also affects our love life and relationship, not to mention our career and how much money we earn.
That is a lot.
It could very well be one of the most important factors determining how our life plays out. What if you could produce natural, limitless energy based on how you think? Take a minute and think about a time in your life that you were going to maybe a competition, football game, baseball game, basketball game, whatever. Or you were going to go out on a date for the first time with somebody you always wanted to date. You got an A on a test. Got accepted to college. The amount of energy that was going through your body was just pure excitement was being generated by you, not anything external, just how you were thinking, your emotions, and the feelings that were going through at the time. Go on the opposite end of that, when you were extremely low on energy to the point you're on a couch, in bed, so tired that you were going into levels of depression, perhaps being feeling overwhelmed, anxiety, all those things you think about, of course, only when you're tired. And that sudden moment, somebody walks in. Guess what? That lottery ticket we bought, it's a winning ticket. That energy state that you were negative just now propelled into the clouds based on information that you just got that would excite you and send emotions and feelings through your body, instantly changing a negative level base energy to through the roof. Proof that you can change your energy just based on what you're thinking about or what emotions are going through your body. Let's do a breakdown of how you can create that on command when needed. Okay. I'm going to go into a quick explanation of something before I go into the 5 things that will create natural limitless energy. So we have a clear understanding how much the consciousness and subconsciousness plays a part in how we think and what we think so we can create natural limitless energy. Let's think of consciousness like an iceberg. And the portion of the iceberg that is out of the water is your consciousness. The portion of the iceberg that's under the water, below the waterline, is your subconsciousness. Just like the iceberg that's above the waterline that you can see, that's the same thing that happens with us in terms of our consciousness and what we can see and understand about our emotions, our feelings, our memories, and so forth. They're there, they're present, we're aware of them. Well, the subconscious below the water level is the things we don't see. Same things, emotions, feelings, memories, so forth, that play a very large role in our life, like 80% of how we think every single day repeatedly. And they affect more of what we do and how we act than the consciousness part, which is about 20% of what goes on in our head throughout the day in terms of thinking. So, very important to understand the difference between these two before we go into the breakdown of solving the problem. How do we create that energy? So, if you want to spend most of your time pursuing the things that you really want to have in your life, eventually the type of life that you like to have, and you want to stay in the consciousness part of your mind as much as possible. And that's actually a little more difficult than it may sound. However, it is 100% possible. So this is our base camp. Base camp is assuming that we have 3 things addressed before we make the climb. So the first is diet, low carb, high protein. Now, you can do that if you're vegan, vegetarian, carnivore, keto, doesn't matter. If you're doing plant-based proteins or meat proteins, as long as you're keeping your carbohydrate intake low, especially during the day, and increasing if you want to at dinner time, complex carbs preferably, key essential part of this, then you're usually, this is the highest percentile of the type of diet that will give you your energy levels that you're going to want to have. Number two, exercise 15 to 20 minutes a day. That's a minimum. That's just to give somebody you're doing that 15 to 20 minutes, whether it's a walk a day, working out, that will keep you in the requirements to generate what you need to generate through your body and your mind so that you're capable of having the emotional, mental, physical energy required to elevate your energy. Sleep, minimum 6 hours typically, maximum 9 hours typically. These are what sleep experts say are the zone to stay within to maximize your amount of rest and recovery. But since some people don't require quite as much, that's for the lower number. And for the ones that require more, that's the higher number. And anything less or more than this typically can work as a negative. Number two, breathing exercises, that is, meditation and prayer. The breathing exercises are something completely new for me. Just until this past year, I had never done this before. I am absolutely blown away how effective they are for increasing energy instantaneously, increasing clarity in the mind instantaneously. And it only takes a few minutes of these breathing exercises to create that. And what I typically like to do is I will do the breathe. And the reason it does it, by the way, I like to explain some of these pieces because I hear about meditation and how why do these things work? And I can go deeper on this later. I'm trying to keep this relatively quick just so that people stay plugged into it. But the breathing, that's obviously providing oxygen into the bloodstream, which runs through the entire body, into the mind, gives you more clarity so quick. It's bizarre. And can actually get a pretty significant head rush off of it sometimes because you're just flooding the body and the brain with oxygen. And it's amazing. It's absolutely amazing in every way. And what I like to do is I do my breathing exercises and then go into a meditation for about 20 minutes. And there's different types of meditation. There's, like manifesting meditation. There's meditation for clarity, meditation for energy, and all sorts of things. The meditation I'm typically doing when I do the breathing exercises is about mid morning or late afternoon, perhaps in the day, and I am needing a break and an active way of self care to pick myself back up, basically. So that breathing into the meditation gives me an incredible clarity with what I'm looking to accomplish for the rest of the day and how I can vision it and decide what's going to happen next. And then I go into prayer after that. Prayer has had a very significant effect on me after doing these because I feel like I can get in touch with my creator actually. And for me, being in touch with the creator of all of it is extremely important. And that mindset, I guess, is the best way to put that. And that connection, spiritual connection, has just been very effective for me. Number three is passion. This is where it starts getting very mental, and it has outrageous effects in terms of your energy. So, passions are things you engage in that you feel passionate about, which is a very strong emotion. You can see that in terms of people that love certain things or people, and how that can go badly when things go bad in that relationship, if it's a love particularly. And people will do things that they would never think they would ever do out of that deep passion um, for something or somebody. Okay, so that should, we're going to just expand on it. Just there should be zero questions in terms of what passion can actually create in terms of energy. It can be very positive or very negative. But the positive passions, all the energy we're talking about right now is positive. Into this, I'm going to touch on a few things, positive and negative energy. But passions create an amazing source of energy. And if you're fortunate enough to be in the field of your passion in terms of how you produce or earn your money, then that's a huge blessing because obviously it's something that you love to do. It's something that you don't feel like you're probably working as much as others do when they are working, and because or since rather that we spend so much time in what we do to earn money, our careers, our businesses, whatever, then that is where most of our time is spent in a passionate environment that creates great energy. So I won't go too far into when I hear people talking about doing what you love or not encouraging people to do what they're passionate about in terms of income. It seems but it's ridiculous because if there's any way to do that, even if you're earning less, most likely in most cases, people that do go into something they're passionate about end up doing far better than they do without going into something they're very passionate about. But even if you did, if you took a pay cut in order to do something you're passionate about, and you're spending the majority of your time in that passionate place in your body, in your mind, in your soul, it will create a level of energy that is contagious can be. And then if you don't have that ability, which I've been on both sides of this, but you have things that you're passionate about, um, whether it is a sport, a hobby, a cause, what have you, that you can do at least, I would say, 4 times in a week or within 4 days of the week, not all day, just a portion of that day, an hour, maybe at the minimum, and hopefully maybe a little bit more when possible. That gives you at least, again, the probability of having that passion affect you in a positive, energetic way. It's all about getting over the 50 percentile when it comes to engagement in this. So even if it's not an hourly over 50 percentile, but it's day wise over 50%, 7 days in a week, 4 days is over 50%. So that's where I have found it to be the most effective for me. And even when I'm doing something I don't like, even if it's something work related I do not like, and I've got a couple of days of just going through that, and I have something I'm excited about, passionate about doing that I know is going to come at the end of that few days or a week or whatever the case may be, mind blowing how different my approach is to tackling the thing that I have to tackle, going through what I got to go through, and being good about it, not just making it through, but literally, changing the whole vibe of it because of that passionate portion that comes out when you're doing something that you're passionate about. All right, number 4, purpose fulfillment. Monster. This is this is getting into some heavy stuff in terms of creating energy, right? So purpose. Just to give you a little bit of how vital this is, when you hear somebody say, I've heard Andy Huberman, for example, the other day say, for the first time in my life, I feel like I am exactly where I'm supposed to be. It gave me chills. It made the hair on my arm stand up just now because when somebody, I can feel that. I've been there, and I feel like I'm in closer to being in that place now in my life again, like I was at one time. And there is nothing better than that feeling of being in that purpose, and being in fulfillment in terms of knowing that you are doing exactly what it is you are designed or born to do. You hear some people say that because you go from literally feeling like a fish out of water to, um, you know, the whale or whatever your favorite fish may be, um, most gracious or dolphin, whatever. It's just an amazing. You feel not only like you're in the area and the place you belong, but you're comfortable in your skin, and that's also a highly contagious thing to have, not just for yourself, because you're reinforcing your positivity in yourself and you in general, which is very, very important. And again, you're affecting so many people around you contagiously. You are inspiring other people. And I can tell you one thing right now. When I was there was a nice time span in my life where I was in that place, purpose and fulfillment and doing absolutely living my passions. And I can just personally contest that so many people wanted to be around me and our family at that time because they didn't even know why. I don't think, and I don't even. At the time it didn't register. I was a lot younger, but it was because there was this flow, right? And the thing that I mentioned about God and the universe and all that, it's so important whether or not you believe in God or not to understand that the universe. I think a lot of believers think there's either God or the universe or it's, Mother Earth or God. It's not, but they're all connected rather in the respect that just like a river flowing down the water's flowing down a river, um, you can get in. If let's say you want to get into the point that's somewhere here, and the river's flowing this way, and you want to get here, well, you can either get in down there and swim upriver, or you can get above it and go with the flow to that point and have a much more wonderful time going with the flow than against the flow to get to that point. And that's what I look at when it comes to the universe, getting in the flow with the universe. And what I mean by that is that you are finding that place, you're finding your purpose, you're finding your passions in some form, and then finding your purpose and fulfillment through that whole process. And that's when you feel like you're where you belong. It's not an effort. It's not trying. It's where you're trying, but you're not trying, right? You're not like trying and it just doesn't fit, like trying to put a, round peg in a square hole. It's totally different. So that's what we're talking about when we talk about this, because this is the most powerful source of energy that there is. Or the opposite, if you don't have it going on and you're working on swimming up the river, right, to get to that location, immensely powerful. And I'm going to say one more thing. Energy, just in this respect, right? So you look at somebody who is creating positive energy, and they walk into a room, and everybody has experienced this. You might even be the one that was doing it, and everybody around that person is changed somewhat, at least for the moment, in terms of if that positive energy is flowing out like it typically does when somebody's really carrying a high level of positive energy. It lifts people want to don't even know why again. It's just because it's part of that universe thing I'm talking about and God, because it all works within the same realms that that person feels that energy. It literally comes off. People will believe there is energy like running through the circuits of our walls and our electricity that you can't see, but they won't believe that there's energy flowing out of our bodies and to each other. And it's crazy. We're literally built of energy. That's what we are. So of course that'll flow. That's why I will get goose. Everybody gets goosebumps, a hair on your skin will stand up, certain circumstances or situations. So it's fact. It exists. And then going back to the person that's positive, how it will just affect. You can feel that person when they're really positive. And the same goes for somebody that's negative. Somebody negative comes into the room and they're giving off that highly negative energy. It is like everybody just wants to scatter, get away from. It propels people away. And the person with positive energy, is pulling, gravitates. People want to gravitate towards that person, and so, positive actually pulls people into you and pulls opportunities into you. That's what I'm saying about getting plugged into the world of the universe and these energy states. And the negative does the exact opposite. It pushes away all the good things and the things that you're supposed to. You're swimming upriver with the negative, and you're going with the flow downriver with positive energy, right? Okay, number 5, flow state. As we keep going up this or going down, whichever way you look at it, these these factors of energy, um, they get more superhuman like. Flow state. Flow state, in case you don't know, is, for example, Michael Jordan. Everybody knows who Michael Jordan is. If you've ever watched Michael Jordan, I'm not a huge basketball fan by any means, but I'm a fan of most elite athletes in the world because they do the impossible. But Michael Jordan, watching him play basketball and floating through the air as if he is weightless before dunking a ball, and to go into and watching him with his tongue sticking out and going into that zone. The zone is another way of describing flow state. It's a supernatural human state that things are happening and taking place that are sometimes seemingly impossible or impossible for some people in terms of how they look at it, but they are taking place by a team or an individual, whatever the case may be, and making it look easy, effortless. Flow state is just exactly that. That's when you have put all these other 1 through 4s together and you're doing the right things and the right times and all the things are coming together, and then you get in sync with what it is you're doing, whether it's a sport, something to do with writing, videoing, um, anything. I mean, it can apply to so many things. I will miss something if I try to name them all out, but um, it happens, and you feel like you're just cruising along down the river with this current and doing impossible, nearly impossible things. And the thing that's really cool about flow state is that if you're learning something, like it's easiest for me to put in forms of a sport because that's where I've experienced it multiple times. And it's like the best drug in the world. Is that when you're learning, like you are with anything really, when you're learning, just continually learning something on and on, when you start getting into the ability to get flow state going while you're doing that learning process, you can increase your learning time like 500% as the number. That's what the experts say. Stephen Kotler and Rena Doris, they're the Flow Research Collective. But this flow state is a place that you want to achieve as much as possible because you can speed up the progress of things that you're trying to accomplish, wanting to accomplish in terms of learning, productivity, whatever the case may be. And it's it's where time disappears and effort goes from putting in what feels like everything you've got to fractionally, if anything, effort wise at some points that it's just all happening for you. So to summarize, the 5 ways to generate natural limitless energy, quite literally, is these 5 items. Base camp, which is your diet, your exercise, your sleep, getting that all in check, as we had on the other board. Number 2, breathing, meditation, and prayer. Passions, purpose, fulfillment, and of course, last, flow state. To me, life is way more fun when you are um, being able to do it better, like any sport would be, right? It's not much fun in playing a sport or being in school or taking a class or reading a book if you're not good at doing that because it just makes you feel bad about yourself. So I've always tried to up my game wherever I can just so I can up the enjoyment of the game. And when it comes down to it, life is, in fact, a game. And if you want to play the game the most effectively and joyfully, then learn to play the game the best you can, right? And so that's been my approach in terms of everything that I can figure out that I can do, that I'm capable of doing and aware of, like I said. So when it comes to these things, um, these are huge. And the more you're in that conscious state versus the subconscious, meaning conscious is where you're thinking about the right things. You're controlling the things in terms of what you're not doing and you are doing. A lot of what happens with most of us is that you end up sometimes doing things you don't want to do that don't make you feel better about yourself or don't make you feel good about yourself, period. And you don't do the things you know that you want to do, should do, need to do that will make you feel better. And for me, the key has been primarily, this is huge, is to get the essentials together in such a way that everything that you're not wanting to do and everything you are wanting to do are in flow, right? You're not gritting your teeth and squeezing your hands and white knuckling it to make it stop or not do it or wanting to do it. or dreading doing it, you're doing all the things that prime your body, prime your soul, prime you as a person to bring out your best so that it falls in place just as it should. And you can't always control timing, right? Timing, that's God's timing, that's universe timing. There's timing that you can't control. So the key to it all is to do the things that you can control and do your part, in other words, and then all the other things kind of seem to fall into place if you do it correctly. And we're just do it, make that effort and put forth the foot to do that. And that's kind of like what you hear people talking about with luck. Everybody's heard this definition, but that's when preparation meets opportunity, right? Well, we're talking about life. It's where life, living the life you want to live, is where your preparation meets the opportunity that life is bringing to us every day. And life is not always easy, um, but there's a lot more things out there that most of us are aware of that we're just not consciously aware of because we're not focusing consciously on the right thing. We are subconsciously living the same thing over and over each day. So if you like this video, please give me a thumbs up, hit a thumbs up, and subscribe to this channel if you would. And I will continue to make videos that not only explain things that are very helpful in these respects, but the reasons why they're helpful. Because that to me is the most important thing. Once I know, and I think once you know why it is you should do something or why it's a good idea to entertain doing something, whatever, then it makes it a little bit more, makes you more apt to do it, right? And get the effects you're trying to get from it. So thank you for watching.